Good evening. This is Econ Fun After Dark, episode May 13th, 2026. And getting stuff set up here. So, you live in the control room. I don't know what that means. It's amazing though. All right. So, I guess I'm live in the control room. Boom. Okay. Xavier Nick. This is this is where we go through contents of Marginal Revolution. Is put on by Tyler Cowan and Alex Tokarek, and they've been doing it for a long time. They're economists, professors at George Mason University, part of the Marquetas Center there. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Feel free. Oh, I forgot to post the link. Here you go. If you're stopping by, you can go ahead and click on that and hop on in. We'll discuss econ fun after dark. All right. This one, Xavier Nick Tristan podcast. Apparently, they discuss a lot of fun things. I haven't listened to it, so we're going to skip that. On Pettis and sectorial imbalances, I was starting to read through this one, and it is long. It is very long. A good chunk of it is just discussing where the idea of GDP comes from and how you calculate that. I'm not super familiar with Michael Pettis, but anyways, they're analyzing trade relationship between China and America. Read it if you want. This is where the Flynn effect went. This is a good one. I looked at this one. So I looked at a few of these earlier before getting on, but the odds of having dementia at age 85 are close to 1 in 3. Oh, what? Close to 1 in 3 in the 80s. Now they're 1 in 10. That's crazy. You know, my anecdotal evidence was that dementia rates were going up. So I think this is great news for us. And they don't think they have a great explanation. Better cardiovascular health, diet, education, often mentioned. Anyways, yeah. So there's your little graph chart. In terms of chart making, it's a pretty good chart. Pretty easily followed, and you can see the trend. Right now, the 2000. This one is the one that draws your eye the most. 2024. So I'd probably change these two to lighter or to darker colors, and then this one would be the orange or red, and that's the one that really draws your eye because that's what they're trying to tell you. But overall, good, easily digested graph. Computer futures has arrived. Let's see what that one is. Trade, hedge, compute futures. Let's pause this here. Compute futures has arrived. Quarterly, monthly, and yearly contracts on NVIDIA. Prices trade on Architect. Purpose built for companies with exposure to GPU price volatility, intuitive trading, inference, instant settlements, and our team online 24/7. So advertisement for that. NVIDIA. So few prices have surged. So it's a future stock trading based off the price of NVIDIA. Great. Redoing the list. That's obviously the airport is question mark. So it's like, is this what they're really going to do? Exclusive. The airport, Dulles Airport, will be entirely remade in just 8 years under a $22 billion plan by the Trump administration. Out are the mobile lounges and the temporary concourse CD, and is a new above-ground connector with and an Atlanta-like layout. Those of you who are familiar with the Atlanta-like layout, let me know if that's good and if that's a good thing that they're doing it. I probably have been into Dulles once or twice. I don't really remember it too well, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other. Whether it's a good thing or not. Why restrict stablecoins? Question mark. Papersers.com. Verification successful. Oh, great. I'm glad I was verified. Accept all cookies. All right. Hey, Lawrence White, George Mason University. All right. So, why restrict it? A leading rationale for restricting stablecoins is the argument that stablecoins are run prone and that stablecoin runs will impose negative externalities via contagious loss of confidence. I lost my confidence. The critical examination shows that the evidence of a run and panic proneness in the antebellum U.S. private banknote system is unrepresentative of minimally restricted banknote systems around the globe. It is not relevant to stablecoins. The most prominent stablecoin run, USDC in 2023, did not exhibit contagion, right? Yeah, because I don't even hear about that. A second concern is that because stablecoin prices deviate from par, their use as a media of exchange is inefficient. A more comprehensive perspective finds that inefficiency does not follow from non-par pricing. The U.S. Genius Act, signed into that restricts dollar stablecoins in ways that harm stablecoin users. Restrictions embodied in the act are better explained by rent seeking than by a search for efficiency. All right. So basically, the guy tries to debunk the myth that stablecoins need to be uh, regulated because he's like, they don't. So, anyways, Scott Wu, Cognition, the Wu tapes, an afternoon with Cognition founder and nerd, Emperor Scott Wu. There's no Cognition is a Colossus sponsor and portfolio company of Positive Sum. All right, this looks long. It is very long. I probably won't read it all. Maybe just here. One word. Act one. All right, we're not gonna read all that. Oh, well, I guess it gives a Act one explosion of virtuosity in the back of a new proof or theorem that turns a field on its head, making enemies of the dons and prize winners whose authority it threatens. Act two, a campaign of vindication through papers, lectures, public appearances, and a retinue of loyal pupils stifled at every turn, ultimately forcing reluctant institutional acceptance, while also arousing the interest and manipulation of government goons and foreign spooks. Ooh, government goons and foreign spooks. Sounds like a James Bond thriller or something. I don't know. Act three, no longer ignorable symptoms of crippling insomnia and paranoia, followed by divorce, malnutrition, self-harm, commitment to a psychiatric clinic, or a decline into a figure of campus fun, menacing seminars by randomly appearing in a bathrobe and scribbling weird messages on blackboards. Huh. Act four, irretrievable psychopathy or medical sedation or death, followed by post-humanist mythologizing in which madness is declared to be the price of genius, leading to middlebrow canonization in undergraduate course, catnip for the National Book Critics Circle Awards, and Oscar bait by DreamWorks. All right. Yeah, there you go. That's that. Decline of marginalism may also signal the decline of the philosophy of economics or its radical transformation. That's quite the sentence. The death of the philosophy of economics. Very short summary. Oh, hey, thank you. Creole Hagen. That sounds Welsh. I wonder if he's Welsh. Very short summary. This essay reflects on Tyler Cowen's account of the decline of marginalism in contemporary economics and discusses the implications for the field of philosophy of economics. I contend that the philosophy of economics has yet to properly account for the computational revolution that is transforming the discipline. Not only might that take time, But the diminishing importance of economic reasoning and theory may also entail a radical transformation of the philosophy of economics into something like a philosophy of computation. All right, all right, all right. What are you trying to say here? All right, so you're tussling with Tyler Cowen's account of the decline of marginalism. Okay, field, and he contends that the philosophy of economics has yet to properly account for the computational revolution that is transforming the discipline. All right, so computer stuff's changing economics. So he's going to contend that. I don't think many people are going to argue. Not only might that take time, but the diminishing importance of economic reasoning and theory may also entail a radical transformation of the philosophy of economics into something like a philosophy of computation. Okay, so he's saying that computational revolution is going to change the philosophy of economics into the philosophy of how to properly compute stuff, um, because economic reasoning and theory is going to take a backseat to computing economic stuff. All right. Well, good luck with that, Mr. Welsh guy. Awesome. Louis Garsano on European productivity problems. Excellent post. Ooh, excellent post. X. This is a long post. European stagnation is real. Just like 19th Street. All right, that's funny. There are many things to dislike about life in America, but relative to 25 years ago, the gap in material wealth has shifted dramatically in America's favor. Okay. So he has 3 points of why this is true. The growth numbers. Krugman compares the United States, France, and Germany purchasing power parity and current prices. And the measure France's and Germany's positive position relative to America has been roughly constant since 2000. The current price miss stuff. Okay. Is it all the tech industry? Krugman concedes the tech divergence, but says it is not welfare relevant. All right. His model assumes tradable goods. Yeah. And Krugman's not a very good person to be sparring with. He's kind of past his thinking prime. Anyways, so this advantage. The median employee at Meta, a company with almost 80,000 employees, earned $388,000 in 2025. It's a good chunk of change. It's a little more than I earned. Just a little bit. Looking at you, Meta. You want to throw me some of that chicken scratch? This advantage is not going to go away. Krugman's own 1991 paper cited in his Nobel Prize showed that the comparative advantage in modern industries is produced by increasing returns to scale, specialized labor markets, supplier networks, and amalgamation of suppliers, workers, and ideas in particular places. Once an industry concentrates somewhere, the concentration is self-reinforcing. Europe is being pushed away in the next round of technological industries, AI. That's kind of yeah. It is a real thing. I don't think it's a self-reinforcing thing. Like other places can arise. What about inequality? Another retort is that GDP per capita hides substantial inequality. And so even if America is rich on average, this is mostly due to the super wealthy, super duper wealthy. The cleanest comparison is median equivalized disposable household income. Income after cash taxes and transfers adjusted for household size and purchasing power. According to OECD's 2021 numbers, the median American earns 30% more than the median Dutchman and about 31% more than the median German and 52% more than the median Frenchman. Oui, oui. What about hours worked? Google points out that Americans probably work more. The opposite has happened. these people wrote a paper in 2026 shows about half of American European hours worked that existed in the 1990s was reversed by the end of 2010s. Americans work fewer hours per person than they did in 2000. Yeah, isn't it interesting? I'd have to see that paper. That does seem counterintuitive. Paint me a little skeptical. Is America now a bad place to live? Walk around Alabama and France. Surely the former cannot be substantially richer than the latter. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways. Consider salaries available entry level workers. The stating pay for a London police officer is 57,000. Washington D.C. 75,000. The entry level Deloitte consultant job in Madrid pays around 28,000 euros, roughly $33,000 per year. In Charlotte, the entry level Deloitte job pays $63,000. Oh man, I'm in the wrong business. Deloitte, call me up. Just kidding. I know people in Deloitte. I don't think it would be for me. Well, comments on Russia. Speculative claims about quantum batteries. I love speculative claims. All right. Okay, folks. This qualifies as breaking news. All right, Owen Lewis, not Lewison. Lewis, take me away. Break the news. Harold Sunny White, the warp drive pioneer behind NASA's EagleWorks lab, just stepped out of stealth into Casimir Incorporated to unveil MicroSpark, the first battery-free chip to harvest continuous electrical power straight from the quantum vacuum via the Casimir force. All right, now we're talking. 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter device uses millions of custom microscale Casimir cavities fabricated on the substrate inside each cavity. It doesn't sound good. I don't like cavities. Two fixed conductive walls create a region of negative vacuum pressure, the well-known Casimir effect. Stationary micropillars anchored in the middle act as antennas. Electrons from the cavity walls then quantum tunnel to the pillars because of the interior is a lower energy, quieter zone, and the probability of tunneling back is orders of magnitude lower. This one-way quantum ratchet flow generates a measurable DC current with no external power source or moving parts. Prototypes already fabricated at University NanoFab facilities, Texas A&M, have been tested in RF shielded low noise chambers for weeks. The team reports outputs ranging from millivolts to volts at picoamp to microamp levels using precision electrometers and Kelvin probe force microscopy. Huh, I'll have to ask my microscopy people about this. Target performance for the first commercial chip. Microwatts is continuous. Stacking and scaling could reach milliwatts or even watts per device. All right. Ultra low power. Yeah. So it's not producing a lot of power. So I'm wondering how it scales. That's going to be the key, like how it scales. It says always on IoT sensors, wearables, and medical implants. I don't know if it produces enough for a medical implant. My wife has a medical implant, and I think it takes a lot more electricity than that. Longer term roadmap includes trickle charging phones, power small electronics, eventually grid independent homes for EVs, commercialized target 2028. Yeah, $100 per watt before dropping to $10 per watt. Yep, extraordinary claims. There it is. I guess that's what it looks like. Ooh, fancy. There we go. Some obvious reasons why AI will create some transitional problems in employment. Non-obvious reasons why AI will create some transitional employment. This is interesting. Tyler Cowen's been a huge AI proponent, and so let's see here what some of his arguments. You don't find the mass unemployment hypothesis persuasive. Like I said, he's a huge AI person, so he's not finding that persuasive. And I have covered this extensively in the past. It's true that here are three problems which may end up being noticeable in the short run, though likely absent longer term. Right? Long term, he's very bullish on AI. One, uno. Many of the new jobs to be created may have come in highly regulated sectors, and that will slow their creation. Energy and healthcare, especially biomedical trials. Two examples I have in mind. Let's say we opt for more nuclear power to ease constraints of compute. How long will it take for most of these jobs to come online? Okay, so how long is it going to take for the nuclear power plant processors and builders to come online? At least initially, job search and matching might be less efficient. We have lots of practice judging which workers are best for which jobs in a pre-AI world. Let's say most jobs involve working with AI in some manner. How well can actual HR departments judge who is good at that? Are the HR departments themselves even decent at that? Okay, so what he's saying is that most of the jobs, new jobs, you're gonna need to be really good at working with AI. And how do you measure how well you work with AI? Um, and are HR departments even able to judge that? And are HR departments even good at AI? So I would say most HR departments are not good at the things that they're hiring for. So I don't think that necessarily matters. So expect slower matches. At some point, AI itself might give us a better and faster labor market matches. Government fiscal policy may be less effective at putting people to work in an efficient manner, given that the government is likely, at least for some while, to be a poor judge of who is good at working with AI. It may slow hiring or lead to quicker dismissals and quits, or simply result is less output for the fiscal policy investment, thus making them less efficient. So I think he's saying that he's assuming the government will institute a fiscal policy that will be used to put people to work uh, with the layoffs and everything. So interesting. These features of the problem all could use a bit more consideration, and likely there are others I have not thought of. Yeah, I think there probably are others. Good. This from so it's from a new paper by these people. Data centers are favorable behind cloud computing. The rapid diffusion of artificial intelligence is intensifying demand for these. Their expansion creates a local policy trade-off. Data center can bring capital investment, construction activity, and specialized equipment. It also increase demand for electricity, land, and grid capacity. This paper studies these effects at the U.S. county level. We assemble a facility level panel of global data centers with precise coordinates, scale metrics, and annualized revenue. We map the facilities to U.S. counties and combine them with the county business patterns, county level IRS income, county level housing prices, and electricity prices to address the androgynous siting. We instrument for data center growth using two shift shares, yada yada, yada yada, and both channels with the IV investment shows positive effects. All right, here we go. The IV estimate shows positive effects on total employment, data processing, employment, construction employment, establishments, house prices, and electricity prices at different horizons after data center growth. We'll also find positive effects on tax returns, adjusted gross income, blah, 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 while annual payroll responds less robustly. Okay, the results suggest that data centers create measurable local activity, increase house prices, and affect local electricity markets through higher prices. Yeah, I think this is what a lot of people are afraid of. Not necessarily know if that's a good thing. All right. Also, Robin on AI and education. Hmm. Uh, AI and higher education. There's a growing idea I've seen in some circles that college could be replaced by conversations between AI tutor and student. When I think about your model, I wonder why college even needs to exist. All right, yeah, that's not going to do that. All right, couldn't you, as Hollis Robbins, not only a specialist in African American sonnet traditions, but also on idiosyncratic thinker on the subject of AI and the future of the academy, just set up your own shop? I was in Austin, Texas, much more from the New Yorker. I'm guessing this is Tyler. He's on the board of the University of Austin. A couple of times in March with a bunch of 25-year-old billionaires. This is what they're looking at. Instead of having the credential from the institution, why not have the credential from the professor? If you have a Hollis Robbins education, what would that signal? Right, and back to the idea, what are you getting from education? Is it all signal? Are you actually getting skills? Long running debate. What would that credential mean as opposed to a degree from the university where there was some conversation about what that would look like? And one guy at the end of the dinner said, instead of OnlyFans, it's like only professors. That's good. They actually tried this kind of. It was called iTunes U. It was amazing, and they took it down. I am still bitter about that. I got some world class education through iTunes U, and I was not happy about that. Right? And I mean, that's the same thing that you're getting from like Udemy and things like that. I have a former student who's published on Udemy, and that's what that's like. Hey, no dog. Sorry, he is trying to eat something he shouldn't be eating. So, all right, a few more. We'll get going. Is it too expensive to sell a house? It is super expensive to sell your house. I just sold it, or I'm trying to sell a house, and it's super expensive. P.S. There's got to be some sort of collusion between the banks and the insurance companies, because the insurance companies back the banks. So if banks produce bad loans and they start going under, right, then they will claim the insurance. That's what happened to was the insurance company that was backing Bear Stearns, and then they kind of went under too because Bear Stearns went under. So, but yeah, all of a sudden, I out of nowhere, all the insurance companies decide that your house has to have a new roof within the last 20 years, and you can't get insurance if you're a buyer until you could prove that it's been re-roofed within the last 20 years. Right? All at the same time, all the insurance companies, right? I've talked to real estate agents, multiple of them. I like literally close to 10, and this happened to all of them, or they had colleagues that it happened to, and purchase all at the same time, and all the purchases like fell through, or they had to do it. One person I know was a high up exec at State Farm, but just not in their like the house section department. And so they were trying to buy the house. The house didn't have the proof that the new roof was within the last 20 years. And so they couldn't get insurance from anybody, State Farm, anybody. And again, like this just happened. This has like it's just a thing that's happened within the last year, or not even a year, like a couple months, 6 months or so. And the executive, or this high executive, went to State Farm and said to the people in the housing thing, like, hey, you got to be able to give us insurance, or else I can't work here in good faith, because what you're doing is not all right. This is not okay what you're doing here. So they ended up working a special deal for this person who was already a high level executive in State Farm. But not everybody is a high level executive in State Farm and can work out these grandfather deals. And that's not the only thing. Roofing isn't the only one, but it's the major one that they're using right now. So it is very expensive, and there's collusion within the insurance agency. It needs to be like looked into, and prosecuted. All right, summer on Halperin on macro. All right, Basil Halperin on eclectically optimal policy, plus thoughts on monetary policy in the current economy. All right, let's see how long you are. You are pretty long. Go through your first and the last and see if there's anything in the middle we like. David Beckenworth recently interviewed Basil Halperin. Halperin. Sorry if I'm messing up your name. I'm not trying to. On this podcast, Macro Musings. Sounds like a fun podcast. The interview focused on two primary issues: the effect of AI on the macro economy. Didn't that guy in that other article just talk about how it's underappreciated? Anyways, and how to think about the optimal monetary policy. I see Halperin as a pragmatist in the tradition of Bennett McCollum, which is one reason why he's my favorite young macroeconomist. Oh, it's good to have a favorite young macroeconomist. Ask me if I have one. I do not. I should. I should definitely have one. All right. Later, I'll offer some comments on recent trends in the economy. All right. Halperin's model, well, let's read his model. It suggests that if extremely rapid AI growth were to occur, it would lead to much higher interest rates. The fact that we do not see extremely high interest rates is taken as evidence that financial markets do not expect explosive growth over the next decade or two. Interesting. Okay, now we're getting the good stuff, right? Right. So he's saying if there's going to be rapid AI growth within the economy, if AI is going to cause the economy to grow super rapidly, that's going to heat everything up. Money is going to be flowing. There's going to be gains all over the place, and that's going to lead to higher prices because you're going to have more money chasing fewer goods. And as Uncle Milton says, everywhere and always, inflation is a monetary issue. All right, the fact that we do not see extremely high rates is taken evidence that the financial markets do not expect explosive growth over the next decade or two. Yeah, maybe the markets are pricing that in effect, and actually it's keeping the markets afloat instead of having them tank, right? What if the financial markets, without AI, would be predicting catastrophic decreases, and the fact that they are taking into account AI growth is keeping it from tanking the markets? I think that's an alternate explanation. I don't know if it's good, but it is an alternate one. He probably discussed it. Others are that AI boom might actually lower interest rates. I don't find the assumptions about income distribution in those models to be plausible. All right. So this is back to the interview that they were talking about. Like McCollum, Basil seems to have absorbed both the best in the new Keynesian economics and the best of Milton Friedman thought. He also favors in GDP targeting. He also seems to have excellent intuition about which sort of macro models are plausible and which are not, a skill that's hard to teach. Even their personalities seem a bit similar, as both come across as being very polite. Here's a much longer post explaining McCollum's excellent intuition. All right. So, you interested in that? I am, but don't have time to do it. All right. Why progress under melee has stalled? Wall Street Journal. What do they mean by progress? I can't access it because I don't have access to Wall Street Journal. Why is Latin America so violent? Because people are falling. Why is Latin so violent? Richard Hanania. All right. Well, shows us stuff. All right. In my forthcoming book. Ooh, look at the graph. Okay. Let's see. I look for ways to try to steelman the case for populism. One conclusion I come to is that while populism is usually a terrible idea in developed states, it can make sense in poor nations where things are actually quite broken and something akin to a strongman rule can have beneficial lasting effects. Methinkest Latin America demonstrates this most clearly. Achieving a monopoly on the use of force is the most basic function of a state. It is. When you see it, a country with a high murder rate, costs go away beyond the actual deaths suffered by victims. Achieving a monopoly on the use of force is, I think it's one of the most basic things a state needs to do. But I think you could have states that don't have monopolies on force, but have monopolies on localized areas of force. So, like, if you have a warlord who controls one little pass, and that's the only pass he controls, but all the rest is, and maybe he doesn't even control that pass fully, but only sometimes. But he could sometimes get down into the pass and charge rent to go through. Then he does not have a monopoly because he doesn't always have control of the pass, right? Sometimes maybe the another military force could come through and saunter in and be like, do, right? And then they're both kind of in the same region at the same time, but he doesn't exhort a toll on them. But then other people come through and he exhorts tolls on them. Anyways, that's quibbling about hairs, but that's what all this is anyways. So meaningless. Below is a chart showing GDP per capita plotted against the homicide. It's like homicide. It's not homicide. Homicide rates across the world. I obtained GDP, homicide, and democracy score numbers from our world in data, and dropped countries with fewer than 500,000 people. See here for country codes, which aren't always intuitive. ZAF, for example, is South Africa. Okay, yeah. Other countries, Latin America. Can I make that bigger? Ooh, yeah, okay. So this is not a very intuitive graph, but it really makes it work to kind of figure out what's going on. Best fit. So slightly homicide rate per 100,000 people. So there's a slight correlation going down. So I think it'd actually almost be better to have two lines, right? You have this one, and then you have like a logarithmic line coming this way. I think that would be two better fits. Anyways, ECU, Honduras. I guess that's maybe Ecuador, Guatemala, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil. So they're including Mexico in this, and they're including Central America. I don't know if Central America is included. I think they're technically based in Latin America. So okay. What are other countries that are out there? All right, South Africa. I am Haiti. It's gonna be Haiti. Yo. Okay. That's gotta be Swaziland, not Switzerland. Sweden. Although I don't know if Swaziland would make it. I don't know if they have more than 500,000 people. What's Paramount? Ireland. What to do? I don't know. Where's the US? I don't know. I'm gonna check. D and K? Huh. All right. Okay. Homicide rate. Really? Afghanistan has that low of a homicide rate? Huh. Wonder how they're determining homicide rates for some of these places. That's my question. All right. Iran really stands out. Nations like Brazil, maybe the Latin American countries actually have a better way of organizing their homicide rates than African countries or certain Near East Asian countries. That could be a thought too. What's going on here? Chart below. Yes, another chart. Provides a clue. On the x-axis, it shows the democracy score for each country. The y-axis is the residual from the chart above. In plain English, the y-axis shows the actual homicide rate minus the predicted homicide rate based on income. Countries above the line are more violent than you'd expect based on their living standards. Oh, yeah. Hey, puppy. Oh, pup, pup. Ooh, pup, pup, pup. Oh, you came right in. All right. See here that for non-democracies, wealth pretty much predicts murder rate in a straightforward way. Again, really, Tajikistan has a great way for calculating its. Well, I don't know. Diet Coke parties are the rage in India. Interesting. Optimizing AI models for creativity. They simply have not done it yet is one of the most useful phrases to keep in your mind these days. Yeah, I definitely believe that because they've tried to nerf it to make it domicile so that people could interact with it. Oh yeah, puppy. Yes, there's a European productivity crisis. Yes, that's been going on for a while now. I feel like I don't know if it's that new. Ideas behind their time, part 2. In 2010, I wrote about ideas behind their time. We're off in there, so. Oh, yes, okay. Ideas very far behind the time to the stethoscope, general anesthesia, and reinforced concrete. Right? The party of moon and canyon. You're a silly dog. Hey, hey, hey. What are you doing, silly dog? All right. He's telling me I gotta go to bed. Let's see. Let's look at a few more headlines here. I do want to come back and look at these headlines. Uh, he's getting too obnoxious for he talks to me. It's conversations. Really? He said what? Oh, I'm sorry that made you feel. Oh, yeah, yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, I can't believe that either. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do about it? You know, you're gonna sit there and take it? Oh, yeah, yeah. That's what you're gonna do. Oh, okay. Yeah. You go talk to her. Give her a piece of your mind. Yeah. Oh, okay. What? Don't change the subject. We're having a good conversation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Early evidence on school smartphone bans and mental health. All right. Where early is appropriate here. To be striking this, I'm not surprised by these results given the relative impotence treatment effects in so many settings. Oh, yeah. I definitely am listening to you. Oh, yes. On your story, dog. Okay, overall, these early results provide no clear evidence that school day policy reduced screen time or improved psychological well-being. Interesting. That's interesting. Because I've seen other ones saying that it affects your screen. Otherwise, using agents to build economic data sets, especially data sets for primary sources, is one of the costliest tasks in period. Yeah, that's true. We propose deep research. Oh. That is such a sad story, puppy. Yes. Oh, I can't believe that. All right. Run increases thousands of source evidence records, field fully, and six quantitative estimates types with documented gaps at the cost of a standard LLM subscription comparable to a few hours of research assistant work. Figure that even partial automation of data set instruction can shift the production function of empirical economics. Yeah, one of my first data sets, one of the first things I ever did with machine learning was to compile data sets, searchable data sets of proposed laws in the state of California. So it definitely is can be. Why are stock prices still so high? This is my latest time of the free press column. Here's one excerpt with a general theme that plenty is going well in the global economy. All right. Tyler Cowen often errs on the side of sunshine. And then here's some more. In India, didn't know Dunkin' Donuts even tried India. Into the Middle East, and is the region less dependent on oil than before? I think so. Why? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, silly dog? What are you doing? Kekistocracy. Opinion. What? That is an interesting title. All right. Brad defends Billy Joel. Slowly, but even I am being brought around to this position. There's Hingle on the future of research papers. This will evolve to a demand side system where papers are accompanied by a platform for all the tools used in the process. That sounds interesting. Yeah. All right. Not a strange journey. I don't want to click on it. All right. So sorry if you've made it this far. Let me know. Email me because that's amazing. I don't know why you would ever do that, but I'm thankful that you do. So have a great evening.